Awesome. So this is the June 29th, 2023 group call for SASO University. During this call, I want to cover the outbound scaling methods, the vertical SWAS offer, and then of course, some of the closing in the DMs and on the phone. So this will probably be our most value packed call that we've had yet. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate. Like I want you to interrupt me, raise your hand, comment in the group chat. And I'm going to be sure to answer all the questions. I also want to go through some of the, uh, like if you have any like screenshots or if anyone's comfortable sharing their screen of like conversations that maybe went south when you're trying to close, or maybe you're wondering, hey, they haven't replied to me. What do I say next? We can cover some of those as well. This will be, we'll end this at exactly 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to try to jump in right away. And again, I want this to be very relaxed. This is for you guys. So any questions, please do not hesitate. So that being said, I want to cover first the vertical SWAS offer. I'll share my screen. Then I want to cover the outbound scaling methods. And then I want to cover the closing because chronologically, that's usually the order that it's going to go in. Now, if you have hopped into SASO University already, I haven't sure if anyone's hopped in it since last night, but essentially I did post the new training. Now, the new training I will say is not actually in the $0 client acquisition model. This is something separate. Don't worry, everyone will have access to it. Um, but I want to go ahead and show you guys what it's going to look like when you hop in your dashboard. We also updated the dashboard a little bit, so it's a little bit more of a modern look. Let me go ahead and share my screen very quickly. And I just want to point this out. Let me see. Here we go. I just want to point this out because it may look a little different. So when you hop in, it's going to look a little different. So you're going to see the 7-step $0 client acquisition model here with those trainings that are out. And you're also going to see a new category. So this is going to be fulfillment, automation, expansion, and exit. So in this category, what you're going to see is you're essentially going to, this is the training that just dropped. This is the first course in there. But essentially what that is focused on is building your offer, automating your own business, expanding your own business, and ultimately exiting your own business. So that's going to be the first chronological steps of how the course goes. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to also help your client automate, expand, and exit, which of course, if you've seen the triangle ascension offer model, that's of course the end goal, right? Making sure that they get exactly what every business owner wants. So really quickly before I start, any questions over any of the training, the past material, past week, anything at all before we jump in? Okay, perfect. So I want to start with number one, the offer. So for those of you who are starting out brand new, whether you have any experience or not, there's going to be essentially two plans that we go with. Number one is going to be the marketing ascension model. Number two is going to be the comprehensive marketing approach. So the way that I teach it in the course, which you guys can go, of course, watch whenever you want. The order in which I teach it is the order in which I want you to apply it because it builds upon the knowledge base. You're ascending your knowledge base as you ascend the client, and then you pivot. And once you feel comfortable with the knowledge you have, that's where you get rid of an ascension plan and you actually go with essentially the three plans based off of the client themselves. So I'll give you an example. In the marketing ascension plan, and there's the pricing is listed in the training. I'll also cover that. But in the marketing ascension model, right? The lowest tier. Well, let me back up just a little bit. A lot of people ask, what do I offer in terms of from high level? Let's say you're using high level. There's some people who don't use it. Maybe they're using ClickFunnels, WordPress, whatever. But let's say you're using high level, right? And you're using the SaaS configurator and you're wondering what do I give them access to? This is my advice. You don't have to follow it. My advice is give them access to everything in terms of software, access to everything. Because number one, I guarantee you, I'll bet my left testicle that somebody else out there is already doing it. I know because it's me. I'm already doing it. So anybody who wants just the software, I'm not going to say no to just throwing them a bone for $97. Because if they're really doing it themselves, they want to set it up, they want to do everything. They just want to pay me the 97 just to have access to it. And they could have paid high level. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. And there's 1,000 other people out there who are doing it as well, right? Remember, We're not trying to do SaaS. If you try to do SaaS, there's zero competitive advantage, right? Because if Matt, Mo, Tony, Grant, and I all offer the same thing, the same SaaS, where's the like? Why wouldn't they stay with me versus John, or John versus Grant, or Grant versus Billy, Joe, Sue, whatever? Right? It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is they get access to the same software. So the when you're doing SaaS, it basically boils down to, I'm talking about just SaaS itself, right? It boils down to one of two things. Number one, you have zero competitive advantage and you're trying to position the features with as much value as possible. I'll give you an example. How many of you, when you look at affiliate coaches speak, they talk about database reactivation? People should pay you an arm and a leg for that, right? Or they tell you, oh, the missed call text back, they should pay you an arm and a leg for that because if they're making 1,500 a deal, then you should be getting, then 500 a month is nothing. That's not how pricing works. Anybody who tells you that, I'm like, most of you know me. I'm a very like, I feel like I'm a very laid back, chill person. But anybody who's telling you that is absolutely full of dog doo doo. 1000%. If you look at basic pricing, right? What do you have to consider? You have to consider the value, yes, but you also have to consider competition, barrier to entry, the vehicle in which you're delivering this. So like the vehicle, for example, the missed call text back, that's a very, I wouldn't say rare vehicle. I wouldn't say common, but it's in between, right? But what is the competition? The competition is insane for people offering that. The barrier to entry is zero. Anybody can go on high level and do this, right? There's no barrier to entry. So we go with the SWAS. So at the end of the day, you could always have this hidden bottom of the barrel, just scraping the bottom. I'm like, I'm bottom feeding the tier where you just offer everything for $97. You can, right? The one example of somebody who's offering just high level, and they say that there's like a software stack. So anyone who's not aware, a software stack is where you just basically use multiple softwares and pretend like your software is fancier, right? True SaaS, by the way, if you, I don't know if anyone's seen that video on my Facebook page, my actual page, not the community. True SaaS is basically when somebody just combines existing software into one offer, right? When somebody writes code for anything, right? They're not inventing the language. They're usually using some kind of a code language, right? They're usually using some kind of a platform, some kind of hosting provider. They're not usually just inventing everything from scratch, right? So there is, people are still stacking the software, but and I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to pull up an example. And this is one I pull up quite a bit. Um, Let me go ahead and share my screen. And this guy's killing it. I like 1000%. I'm not crapping on him. I just want to show you what it looks like if you want to do true um, reselling for a high level. This is Course Creator 360. This guy is doing true high level reselling. Now, 30-day trial. Look, everybody who's resold high level, you guys recognize this image, right? This is like what they always do, right? Oh, all this stuff bundled into one. Uh, you know, average business is 1,400, but you only pay, one of these three small plans. Like these icons, super recognizable, right? This is high level to a T. You can also put this into built with. Anybody not know what built with is?
I'm not too familiar with it.
Okay, cool. I'm about to blow y'all's mind. Let me share this new tab.
Yeah, I
So,
haven't heard about it either, to be honest.
oh yeah, this is awesome. So, what you do, right? If you're talking to a prospect, and I'm going to cover this in the outbound portion, right? What you when you're talking to a prospect, and you want to show them that you know your stuff and you know exactly what software they're using, you go to builtwith.com. Oh, I have an actual paid plan, so let me just pull up an incognito one.
Oh yeah, you showed this last. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So watch this. Since I know I covered it a little bit, let me go very quickly then, right? Course Creator 360. What's that right there? High level, right? So he's using high level. We may even see, look, lead fusion, lead connector, right? All the same kind of stuff. And then he's combined some other stuff. So he's got his Facebook connected to it. He's using Cloudflare for his domain, Cloudflare, PayPal and Stripe for payment, right? All stuff uh,
Oh, that's pretty
that,
cool.
yeah, right. And now he's got his own content management system. So that's where he's doing his own software stack, but he is using high level. So that is, I want to show that as an example to say that is a scenario in which somebody is actually reselling high level strictly, right? and they're adding a few things to tweak it. And if you go look at their social media and you go look at their YouTube, essentially what's happening is they're doing is creating content on how to create your own course and then how to market that course. So essentially what he's done is he's picked one feature and he's honed in aggressively on the course creation and membership feature. And by doing that, he's essentially found an angle or instead of finding a niche in terms of an industry, his niche essentially is the angle of the software, right? Now, do we all have access to high levels membership? Yes. Do we all have access to the funnels? Could we all do the exact same thing? Yes, 100%. He's just honed in on the angle and look at his pricing. So how does he justify these pricing? Because it's not great pricing. He goes on YouTube and he essentially makes a bunch of content so people can basically watch the content, get comfortable with it, and then they can go and create their own content, right? So what's good about what he's doing is that he's essentially showing them how to do it. And he's showing them, hey, this is possible to do it. But where does this business model slowly fall apart? Number one, competitive advantage that he has is that he already has a very large digital presence. So that's good, right? However, where he's falling apart is the churn, right? Does anybody not know what churn is? Perfect. So essentially, he has no way of retaining his clients if they want to go to Kajabi, if they want to go somewhere else, right? So he has no way to really keep them in there. And again, he's doing very well for himself. So I'm being nitpicky. The guy's doing very well.
He doesn't offer any support, I'm guessing, for those prices.
I don't believe so. He may have the typical Extendly backend support. So if you're not familiar with Extendly, they will they'll handle all of your backend support. They're phenomenal. He's doing well, so I'm assuming he's doing something right. But he's essentially niche down, and he made all of that content. I want to say he started several years ago when High Level was in the midst of its rise. It's still rising, but in the midst of its early rise. So he's positioned himself well with that content. So that's not something that I teach, because for me to tell you, hey, pick a feature and hone in on it would be outdated. It's an outdated model. It's a pre-COVID model, right? With COVID happening, everybody going remote, everybody has been hounding the internet to learn how can I make money. And they've essentially gobbled up all of these outdated models, right? Further outdating them. So I just wanted to cover that for the SaaS reselling. Now, what about the offer, right? What are you going to offer? So every business needs three components, right? This is the service-based businesses. They all need three, right? They need traffic. You have to drive traffic to the offer. You have to have the offer, which is going to be the offer, the landing page, the product, where the conversion takes place, where the call is booked, or where the product is purchased, right? And then once it's purchased, what do you have? You have to have the fulfillment on the back end. You've paid, I now have to deliver, whether that's a service, whether that's a product, whatever that is, right? Usually that's the order in which it goes. There's some industries in which fulfillment takes place before payment. Maybe you pay half now, fulfillment then half later. But at the end of the day, traffic to the offer and then the fulfillment. And then the payment, of course, is dependent upon what the offer is. So you guys, when it comes to those three things, this is where we create our competitive advantage, right? And this is where I'm going to essentially transition into the outbound, right? The first thing is we cannot do the fulfillment for them, right? Somebody throw out an industry, except for Matt and Michael. I'm not going to tell you guys why. I'll tell you guys why after in a second. But somebody throw out an industry that they're working with or thinking about working with.
I'm thinking of working with gyms, mainly because I'm a part owner of a couple of Anytime fitness clubs. So I'm thinking of leveraging that.
Okay, cool. So fitness or trainers, maybe gyms themselves. Somebody else give me another one.
Power washing businesses.
Okay, great. So if you're working with these clients, are you going to go and train their clients for them? Are you going to go and pressure wash those houses for them?
Absolutely not.
Right. So that's the one portion of their business that we cannot have a hand in. We cannot have a hand in the fulfillment component. Now we can tell them, hey, I'm going to get you here, but you've got to be able to do what you do, right? I tell my clients all the time, I'm going to get eyes on your business. I'm going to get your phone ringing. I can't provide the quality service to the customer. You have to do that. I can't jump in your skin and work for you. I can't. My favorite one is like, if I'm working with an attorney, I always tell them like, listen, I can't beat the case for you. Like you have to beat the case. I'll send people to you, but you've got to beat the charges. Right. So essentially we can't do the fulfillment, but what we can do is we can do the traffic and the offer. And I'm going to test, one of my VAs is reaching out to me. So let me answer this question, but I'm going to test Michael because I've been bothering Michael and I have been going back and forth all day over some fish he's got on the line. I'm going to test Michael with this, the traffic component. Michael, what's the order of progression that we like to go with the traffic?
Like bringing traffic to the client.
Yeah, remember the traffic or the progression of order in which
Yeah.
you were covering the offers that you were going to do, right? So you first onboard the client. What are the
Yeah.
what would be the chronological steps that you would look at when you were doing their marketing review, for example?
Well, first I would look at their digital presence. So look at their Google Business profile, their page, and their website, and then look at like the SEO and how optimized all their pages and profiles are.
Yep. And then when we were working with them, what's the first thing that you want to update? Let's say they have nothing going for them. What's the order of progression?
Well, the first thing would be to actually build the digital presence. So that would be to build all the websites that they need and implement all the automations, like their missed call text packs, their database reactivations, all that type of stuff.
Yep. And then what would be after that?
After that would be optimizing all their Google Biz profiles, maybe SEO, and putting them on directory listings.
Perfect. And then what are the final two steps?
Launching Google guaranteed ads right after that. And then once they're comfortable with that, you put them into paid traffic.
Yeah, perfect. So that's essentially the model that we go through. The reason, and again, that's all handling the traffic, right? Because essentially what he's saying is we do the localized website and the GMB. Why? Because when people search, Google is going to say, based off their search intent, we think this is what they're looking for. So we want the website localized. How do we localize the website? Really long story short, again, the training covers this. Long story short, it's location plus keyword. So it needs to be, the example I use in the training is Miami plumbing, Houston HVAC, Philadelphia pressure washing, right? Richmond dentist, right? So it's the location plus the keyword. This is all really elementary stuff, right? All of you guys are familiar with this. I'm actually working with a client. I'm actually doing my own marketing audit of a client. And guess what? They have this beautiful website that was actually built by a marketing company. And guess what they didn't do? No localized language. Nothing that says location plus service. The service is there. That's great. No location. So they are extremely good at what they do. I don't want to do it now I don't want to tell you guys now what it is in the recording, but I'll let you guys know in the group. I'm not going to share too much, but essentially they're really good at what they do. Their website is beautiful, but there's nothing location specific. The Google business is weak at best. Socials, last post was last January 2022, not 23.
Wow.
So, and they're making a ton of money. And so a lot of people ask like what Michael just went through. A lot of people say like, well, how do I know if I go, let's just talk organic, right? How do I know if I go organic that's going to even get them clients? Well, because you're going to get more eyeballs on them. That's the honest to God truth. And if you're wondering, wow, that's really simple. Yes and no. It's simple, get more eyeballs on them. But when you look at how to do it, you essentially have to put together the entire website with the localized language. You have to optimize the GMB. And again, where do you learn to do that? You just hop on YouTube and you learn from people who've done it 1,001 times. There's so much material out there. That's why the content that I make is focused on client acquisition, automation, expansion, exit, fulfillment, and essentially repeating that process over and over until you can exit not only your client from their business, but you from your business, right? There's not too much content on that. Yeah, Michael, what's up?
So how do you measure the effectiveness of, like, let's say when you optimize their Google Business page, how do you know that actually worked and bought them clients?
Great. You look at their dashboard before you touch a thing. And same thing for their website. Look at their analytics. You can use all these free tools. Uber suggests you can hop in, like for Google themselves. Google is very big on analytics. Look at their analytics before you do anything and then go from there.
So always like take a look at their analytics before.
Yep. Document that. Like I want you to look at this like a weight training. You want before and afters. Like, hey, you were fat before. Now we've got you in shape. Hey, you were super skinny before. Now we've got you in shape. Hey, you couldn't squat. Look at your squat before I worked with you. Look at your squat now. Look at your strength numbers before me. Look at them now. even if, think about this, even if before you were, let's say like bench press, let's say you could bench press 225 pounds, 225, and now with me, you bench press 225, but it's pain free, right? So it's all about identifying where they currently are and then making some kind of an improvement. Because if you make an improvement, whether it's profitability, whether it's more leads, whether it's more revenue, whatever it is, that is something that you can track. And so, for example, I'm going to use this, and the reason I'm going to use my lawn care example. I know Imram's not here to like attack me for it, but the reason I use this example is because this was my first client. So when you reference this all the time, because for you guys, you're like, oh, is this possible? My first client, we made him in the 8th week, 28,000 in the 8th week, right? How many phone calls do you think it took to make him 28K in that 1 week?
A lot.
8.
Okay.
8, right? Now is 8 a lot of people? No, 8 is not a lot of people. For anybody, like, I'm working on counting with my like infant daughter, and like we count to 8 because it's not that high of a number, right? Like 8 is nothing, but it was 8 phone calls that were high converting clients. Now I looked back at his GMB and he was getting phone calls, some phone calls, right? Not very many. Maybe it was like 1 a week. We got 8 in 1 week, and all 8 were high quality clients, high quality leads that he was able to close, right? So if you're getting visibility, and I'll give you another example to further prove my point. And Grant, I see your question. I'm going to get you in 2 seconds. If we're talking, let's talk strict visibility. A 1% conversion rate is terrible, right? We know on an inbound conversion rate, and I'm not talking about Google Business, but an inbound conversion rate, roughly right under 15% is average. Outbound, roughly around 1% is average. Now, if you're on looking at GMB stats, I believe the number is a roughly 63 or 66% are going to the top 3 in the map pack. That's going to be the first person they reach out to based off of reviews, presence, is there a website or call button? And you'd be surprised. I've seen some that are somehow in the top 3 and they don't have one of those features, right? I don't know. It's all about CTR. If you don't know with Google Business Profiles, it's all about CTR, click through rate. If people are clicking on it, what does that tell Google? That tells Google, hey, this is what you wanted to see. We don't care if you have no reviews. We don't care if you have no website even. We don't care if you have a phone number. If they're clicking on it and CTR is there, they're not going to care about any other metric, because what's the whole point of SEO? Search engine optimization, search engine, search, right? What were you looking for? You clicked here, you must have found it. And you didn't exit right away, right? That exit rate is when they click on a website and immediately back out. That's your exit rate. So if you have a low exit rate and a high CTR, the rest doesn't matter. The rest is all actually up there to further entice you, because you're going to click on something with more reviews, right? As human nature. But Google has associated reviews and having the website listing and having the phone listing and having the products and having it fully optimized. They've associated that with a higher CTR, and they associate the CTR with search intent as long as the exit rate is low. So once you understand that, and that's how you're building it, then you're getting eyes on the business. Let's say they have a 1% conversion rate. If they're only getting 50 eyeballs and you just doubled the eyeballs on the business, then naturally you're going to double their revenue, right? That 1% doesn't change. What's the other way to do it? Well, the other way is you have reviews, you have good copy, you have a converting funnel that you're split testing. You are asking all these questions. You're helping them with the second point, not just traffic, but the offer as well. And you're taking them through the same training in step 1, helping them create an antithetical offer, helping them stand out in some way, shape, or form, no matter how little or how big. And what happens now, not only have you boosted the eyes in their business, but you've boosted their conversion rate. So let's take the same scenario. You've got 50 eyes a day on the business and you had a 1% conversion rate. I'm going to make the numbers nicer. You have 100 eyes on the business a day, 1% conversion rate. That is going to be 1 client a day. If you boost that number from 1 to 2%, now you have 2 clients a day. So that's one way you're making them more money. If you double the eyeballs at 1% conversion rate, you have 200 people. That's 2 clients a day. If you double both the eyeballs and the conversion rate, you've quadrupled their income.
Yeah.
Right. And most of the people that we're working with, when you're starting off with the marketing ascension model, they're people who, I mean, Michael, what was your guy's biggest issue? His like, he can't get Google verified, right?
Yeah, that was like one other guy, but yeah.
Oh, it's different. Okay. Yeah. Different guy. And then I've seen some of the marketing reviews you guys have sent me. They're really good, but they're always pointing out the same thing. Hey, this is where you're falling short. We got to change this, this, and this. Imagine if you could just snap your fingers and have it all applied. What would that do to the metric, right? And let me grab Grant's question before he before he forgets because I've been rambling. Grant, what's up?
So I know, I don't know if you still do like home service companies and stuff. But if you're in the phase of teaching them like organic and like doing their SEO, like starting out like in one of the first phases you recommend, do you guide them through like any outbound stuff, like particularly like B2C services, like local? Do you like kind of like guide them through like kind of doing what you do, go through groups, like tag yourself, like kind of curate their like and like, physically use their like page and their account more? Or do you kind of just do you kind of just like help them push content onto the pages and then just do SEO?
Yeah. So essentially what I'm taking you guys through is what I take them through. However, we manipulate the process to match them. So I'll give you an example. Well, let me ask you, Grant, what's the industry you're working with?
I work with blue collar like local services, like
Okay,
sales
perfect.
service,
And then,
tailors,
um,
car washers, stuff like that.
okay, cool. And then, Mo is also doing pressure washers. Um, Matt and Michael, it wouldn't apply to you guys doing HVAC. That doesn't really matter. Anybody doing any other blue collar? No.
I
Okay.
also do I have like Grant. I have like a screen in company. Like they build like pool enclosures.
No, that wouldn't apply to what I'm about to say.
Okay.
No, but I appreciate you sharing. And then John, I know John is, you're doing some lawn care landscaping construction, right, John? You can give me
How
a
do you,
thumb.
how do you define blue collar? What's the actual definition of that?
Yeah. So blue collar is going to be anything that's like labor intensive work. Usually it's going to be plumbers, electricians, HVAC,
Yeah, gotcha.
construction, lawn care. Yeah. So here's what I'll say.
Anything
Like,
like tools.
yeah,
Yeah.
anything with tools. Yeah, anything with tools. I
Yeah.
like.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
so for Grant and Mo, you guys are doing pressure washing, right? So pressure washing one of two ways, right? And you guys, most of you have seen this on TikTok because the guys on social media are great with the pressure washing. And this applied to my lawn care guy, right? So here's where I changed the angle a little bit with the outreach, right? We're going to cover outbound on social media, but for them, outbound is different. How so? When I have to go to a location, and I'm going to show Matt and Michael why this doesn't make sense for you guys, right? If I go to a location for lawn care, I'm going there every week. If I can get the neighbors to sign up, now what happens is I can mow this lawn and then I can stay on my mower and mow the lawn right next to me. Or maybe I go up the street one house and mow, right? What does that do? That keeps my travel costs down and it keeps my travel time down because now instead of driving across town to my next property, I can go 2 minutes up the road. I can get my day done faster. I can make more money in the same amount of time. We call that route density. So pressure washers, what happens? Somebody calls, you go, and the same would go for like pest control, for especially for like bugs. So you go out to the property, you do the job because you got called there, and then for the pressure washer, you can go to and this is all over TikTok. They go to the neighbor and they go, "Hey, I'm already here. I'll waive my transportation fee if you want me to go ahead and hit this." And sometimes what they'll do is they'll do like, "Hey, I'm going to pressure wash just half of this. You can see how dirty this is. I don't think you realize how dirty it was." And nobody wants their property half wash, right? It's like you do the whole thing. Like, oh, I wish you wouldn't even wash it at that point. Same for pests. Like, hey, you guys had like your neighbor has termites, your neighbor has ants. Why don't we go? I'm already here. I'll waive the transportation fee. We can go ahead and treat this property right now, right? So the outbound changes, the outreach changes based off of the industry. And now, and again, like Mateo and Michael are probably going to laugh, but like if someone calls me to say, "Hey, I need," like, let's say I call Mateo because Mateo's like an HVAC guy, and I'm like, "Hey," he's already smiling, like, "Hey, my water tank is down." He's not going to go to the neighbor and be like, "Hey, you're this dude's got cold showers. Do you have cold showers?" No, the proximity means nothing, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to understand, and this is why it's so big in step one, which I think is where you are, right? For step one, and you're looking at that training, you've got to understand the niche, the avatar, and what we covered in the actually covered in the training that I dropped last night. You have to understand the avenues and the channels in which your clients are getting clients. And I'm going to explain that right now. A lot of people have reached out to me and said this, and they've asked me this question: what are the best industries or what are the best niches to work with, right? I'm sure we've all thought this question. I know I have, at least, right? The answer has an asterisk, but the answer is the one that you can make the most money. Asterisk, as long as you understand how they're making their money, right? So for example, who has thought about or who has tried working with roofers? Has anybody tried working with roofers? No one? Okay. Does anybody
I
know?
thought about it.
Okay. So you thought about it. All right. Watch this. Ready? Somebody, like, just be honest. When was the last time you called a roofing company? Never. Who?
When on a bungalow.
What's that, Tony? You're cutting out a little bit. You may have to type. Your volume's breaking up. You may have to type. While he does that, who do you call? Let's say your roof caves in right now. Who do you call?
Insurance.
And who does insurance call?
They're
Roofers.
they're recommended providers. Right?
Exactly. So if I want to work with roofers, should I be running ads for roofers?
Nah, waste of time and money.
No. What should I be doing? I should be focusing on building their partnership, getting them eligible or qualified, whatever that process is, to partner with insurance companies, right? And then what database are these roofers working with where I can get them as high up? How do I make them in that database be the number one guy they call? Not the number two, not the backup, not fourth string, not the bench warmers. How do I get him to be the number one guy these people reach out to? So right, that's understanding the industry. Imagine if a roofer came to me and I was like, "Oh, I can run ads for you." Immediately, I've just proven I know nothing about his industry, right? That's why if we look at the closing framework and we're step 3, which is something it's actually be the training that comes out next week. But for those of you that know the 10-step framework, right? Understanding where they are. What are those questions? Where are you getting your clients? Because I have to understand, if I'm talking to a roofer, I'm saying, where are you getting your clients? And say insurance companies. Right away, I'm going to let them know, hey, I don't think this is going to be a good fit. And most of you, some of you know, not most of you, because we have more people in the group. Some of you know, I had to fire a home inspector client. Why? When was the last time you called a home inspector? Crickets, right? Who do you call? Who usually contacts a home inspector? Does anybody know?
The realtor.
Insurance, like, or the landlord.
Exactly. So landlord, insurance, realtor. So what do I tell the guy? He's a great guy, phenomenal guy, really good at what he does. But I told him, this is where you're getting your clients, right? He says, yes. I said, cool. I would build those relationships, network with realtors, and I would basically try to be the number one guy. Now, follow up. If I'm thinking, oh, networking, my second thought was, I wonder if they can send a kickback referral. Guess what? They can't. It violates their code of conduct because home inspectors are all based off of honesty, trustworthiness, reliability. If they're paying someone to hire them, that immediately throws it out the board. So if you look at the NACHI, and I think ACHI is the other one, these are two federations that home inspectors work with. So that way realtors know, hey, this guy's set up. And so again, you can't run ads for a home inspector. You can do Google Business, you can do SEO, but because remember the priority of the, like Michael said, the priority of what we offer ends with PPC. That's where we're pushing them up the ascension model. Can I end a home inspector with PPC and meta ads? I can't. So why would I take that client on knowing that either number one, I'm stunting my own growth, or number two, I'm going to overpromise and underdeliver, which means my reputation is now at stake. Right. So when we niche down, yes, we do want to niche down by industry, but we also we're not just doing it because it's like, oh, that's what people tell us to do. We want to make sure that our resources are geared, directed towards one person. Yes. But we also want to make sure that we can actually help these people. Because if you make a quick buck, it will last as quickly as you got it. Right. You'll make a nice paycheck for one client and your reputation will be burned. And good luck trying to come back from that. Right. So understanding the avenue and the way that it's going. Another example, directory listings. Blue Collar does great on Angie's List. Phenomenal on Angie's List. Right. Restaurants do great on Yelp. Right. Wedding photographers, wedding videographers, they do great on a platform called The Knot. Right? They're all different. I'm not going to put a blue collar guy on The Knot. That makes no sense. I'm not going to put a restaurant on a platform that's geared towards blue collar. It doesn't make sense. It's a waste of time and money. So understanding when we're doing the marketing ascension, you have to understand your client. You have to understand where they're getting leads. How do I find out where they're getting leads? I research online, but I'm also interviewing and I'm speaking to these people, right? Hey, where are you getting your lead? It's really that simple. There's no, in business, at least the way that I'm teaching it, there's no like trick. There's no push this button and watch it grow. Otherwise, everybody would do it, right? You think somebody making money is going to be able to keep their mouth shut about how they're making a ton of money? Maybe. I know I blab everything to you guys because I want to see you guys win, but the trick is understand how to get eyeballs on the business, understand how to make the business convert more, which is going to make more money. Yeah. Follow the process. John kills me because I will tell him what to say. He will say it almost verbatim and he'll adjust it and he'll send it. And I'm like, oh, wow, that looked really good. Where'd you get that? He's like, you. And I mean, he made one group post, which we're going to talk about today. He made one group post, had 2 leads and closed one of them within, what was it, John? Like 24 hours. It was something nuts. It was very quick.
Yeah, I've got the one client I closed within 24 hours. Then we're working on a second one, a local dumpster business, right now. So
Yeah. And if you guys don't know, dumpsters make bank. Super high profitability. You drop it off, they charge up to like, I've seen some who are doing like 200, 300, 400 a day. And that's in a small town. So yeah, those make bank. So yeah, the marketing ascension model. So again, if you're wondering, how do I learn this stuff? It's on the training, but I'm going to tell you right now, YouTube, go to YouTube, the people who message you and they're like, hey, I'm a go high level expert. Guess what they also do? On top of their really bad outreach and their really bad marketing, they also make phenomenal tutorials on how to do it. They make great videos on how to do it. So you hop on YouTube, let's say we're talking about optimizing GMB. You watch 5 GMB videos from 5 different people. Don't fall into one person's method because they're going to try to upsell you on their method. Don't. Follow 5 different people and learn 5 different ways and see where they overlap, because where they overlap is where the truth is. And you follow them. There's tutorials that walk you through it. I do this in the training, but I'm going to do this right now very quickly. And then I want to jump into the outbound stuff because that's the really fun stuff. So let's see. Okay. Good. Optimize GMB. Expert tutorial, 60 minutes long, 37 minutes long, 20 minutes long. So let's say I close a client and let's say I have no idea what I'm saying. Let's say I'm just like, oh, I can do that. Like I do the marketing audit. I can do that. And I have no idea. And then I tell them, hey, I need 7 days to set everything up. That video is not 7 days long, right? It's a 60-minute video. Let's say it takes me 5 times that because I'm pausing playing as I'm doing it on my own, right? That's half a day. Let's say a full day to be dramatic, a full day out of 7 days. You can do the same thing with building a website. You can do the same thing with how do I curate and create the socials, right? But I've already given you training on that. It's not like, don't go reinventing the wheel when it comes to mastering the basics. Just master the basics, right? And what I say in the training is I essentially say, because I know a lot of people want to automate. I also show you how to automate. But one thing I do hone in on the training, and I want to reiterate here, is my recommendation is do it yourself at least 3 or 4 times. So that way, when you go to hire contractors, you'll know if they're honest, you'll know what's fair, you'll know what's not fair. Like Mateo, you're HVAC, right? I know nothing about HVAC. If Mateo comes to me and says your water heater, your tankless water heater is going to be $8,000, Mateo, am I on the money or am I way off? I honestly got to have no idea.
No, you're pretty close.
Okay. Oh, wow. That was awesome. Okay. Great guess. But if I know nothing and Mateo is like, hey, it's 20K. And like, how many people have you seen those videos? They had like a whole show where they're like trying to find these pest control guys who are like scamming. They're like, oh, you have termites. And then they go under, they'd be like, they never had termites. Or they'd call in the plumber and they'd be like, oh yeah, you've got all this water damage. And like, they're like, the actual expert would come out and be like, he'd be like this, right? He'd be like, there's no water damage. Why did you lie? Right? Like, who's seen those like videos, right? So the point is, when you're talking to these guys or gals who are doing contracting, and this is nothing against them, nothing, like most of them are from foreign countries. This is nothing against them. I don't care what business you're in. If you don't speak the language, they're not going to know you're not going to know if they're ripping you off or not. Right? You're also not going to know what's realistic. Like, Mateo, how long does it take to install a tankless water heater?
Depends who's installing it.
Okay, let's say you're installing it. The main dude.
About 2-3 hours.
Okay, 2-3 hours, right? Let's say I'm like, hey, Mateo, I need the water heater. And he's like, it's got to be like 8 hours and at my hourly rate, right? But if I'm Mateo talking to Mateo, he's going to be like, no, because I could do it in 2, 3 hours. So either your rate is way too high or you're lying about your expertise and you're lying about how long you're lying somewhere, right? So he can know not to essentially get, tricked, duped. So it's good to do it at least 2 or 3 times because you can turn around and be like, that makes sense or that does not make sense. And I cover way more in depth on the training. So essentially we go organic, which is which is the localized website. It's the GMB, it's the socials. These are free things, right? They're free. And then you can do some directory listings for free. If you want, you can use Yext. Yext is okay. I would much rather just find out where my clients are finding clients and put them on those directory listings. Then we go into paid organic. So this is where you're kind of fudging the line between paid and organic. Paid organic is essentially Google local ads or Google verified. When you get Google verified, which is free, you can also run Google local ads, which is where the client pays per lead that clicks on the link, as long as they actually get the lead. So it pays on the back end. So it's organic. There's a variable fee, yes, but it's very palatable for these local companies versus jumping into a full blown ad campaign. Directory promotions. Let's say I'm on Angie's list and I want to pay to be at the top of Angie's list. Let's say I'm on the knot. I'm going to pay to be at the top of the knot. So I'm getting the first eyeballs on the business, right? So again, that's a organic method that we're paying to be at the top. And then we go into the paid, right? The paid is going to be, we start with Meta. So that's going to be Facebook and Instagram. Then we go to PPC. Does anybody know why we start with Meta or social media ads before we go into PPC?
Because you can retarget.
So you can retarget, yes, but that's not the main reason because you actually have to build an audience before you can retarget. Anybody else want to guess? But retargeting is super, super beneficial with those ads. So Meta ads are going to be lower cost. They're going to be cheaper to get a lead. Your cost per lead is going to be cheaper. An ad can go viral. That's the whole reason why we do the antithetical claims. And once you guys start getting into when you are ready to run ads, you're going to create VSLs just like I do, where I'm reading in front of a document or a slideshow. And what happens is when you find one that does well, that actually becomes your ad creative, and ads can actually go viral. What happens when an ad goes viral? Because Facebook is promoting it, not you. Guess what happens? Your CPL. Oh, go ahead, Grant. No, go ahead.
It start promoting you for free, essentially.
Yes, they start promoting you for free. So what happens to your CPL? I'm going to keep quizzing you, Grant. What happens to your CPL and your CPM? Your cost per lead and your cost per 1,000 views. What happens?
Oh, it goes way down.
Yeah, exactly. It approaches zero. So you're essentially having an ad campaign. You essentially boosted, we don't boost, but you essentially boosted the creative, and the algorithm said, oh, this is doing really well. We'll take it from here. And so your CPM and your CPL near zero. And so what happens? It's essentially like you had a social media post go viral. You just paid to kickstart it. So that's why we start with local meta ads. They're lower cost. They have the ability to go viral. I see your question. Let me just wrap this up and I'll grab you. On the other hand, local meta ads are going to be lower quality leads. Okay. They're going to be lower quality leads. Then we go into PPC, which are going to be higher cost, but the leads are higher quality. So if we're ascending our client in terms of free, low cost, and fixed cost. And then we go into variable costs and a little bit higher variable cost. So we're ascending their budget. Why do we do that? If I jump into an ad, if I have a client, and I actually had a client earlier today reach out to me, they said, hey, do you do PPC for accounting? Do you do pay-per-click ads for accounting firms? I said, no, we don't. What we do is we take them through our process where we make sure every box is checked before we get to the PPC component. You have to go through the process because what happens? If I jump into PPC and I haven't done anything else right, they're going to lose money. They're going to lose money. Who here? I know John is a master. So John, not you. Well, actually, maybe John, even your first month. So anybody who here has run ads before?
Yeah.
Okay. A few people. Yeah. Okay, good.
Ran local ads before.
Okay, great. What happens in terms of cost, revenue, profit? What happens in the first week to 3 weeks? Do you make money? Do you break even? Do you lose money? What usually happens?
Usually it's a bit of trial and error. It's, often lucky if you break even in the first little,
Yeah.
somebody's first month.
Yeah.
Tweaking and testing.
Yeah, exactly. You're essentially losing money in the beginning. Breaking even is great if you can break even in the first week, but
Mm.
you have to essentially figure out the audience. You have to figure out the settings. You have to figure out the creatives. You have to figure out the campaigns. Every new campaign is hit or miss. I'll give you an example. And I use these examples. I don't want anybody to like, I honestly could care less what you guys believe or don't believe. It doesn't matter what I believe or don't believe. I'm not pushing an agenda. So nobody call Ellen DeGeneres and get me canceled. But who is familiar with the Bud Light commercial that did absolutely terribly?
Nah.
Yeah.
So essentially what happened was they had a Bud Light commercial. Look it up. It did terribly because they essentially did not understand who their avatar was to a point. Now, Bud Light is known for doing very progressive marketing campaigns, but do you guys think they made money or lost money on that campaign?
They lost a whole lot of money on that campaign.
Yeah, they lost a ton of money on that campaign. But just like Josh said, they have to test. They have to test. Now, you can argue they're pushing an agenda. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm talking about the marketing in general, right? They didn't understand their avatar. Whatever agenda they're trying to push, they turned the wheel way too fast, and they're essentially just barreling down the road, like flipping down the road. But it was testing, right? The creative did not do well, so they lost money on that. But even campaigns that do well, you spend money first, and then the money comes in. So if I'm working with a client and I'm saying, hey, by the way, I'm going to jump right into ads, that doesn't make that, there's no guarantee ROI. You can be good, you can be great even, but there's never a guaranteed ROI. But what happens if I start with the free organic methods? What happens? Their only fee is you, number one. And then you can have your own fees. I talk about in the training, different software you can use if you're jumping into that. My favorite low cost tools you can use. But what happens for them? They pay nothing on top of your fee. And with SEO, it's going to get eyes on the business. If you're engaging in social media and you're hopping in groups saying, hey, I'm a lawn care guy. Hey, I'm a pressure washer. Hey, I'm HVAC. I can do this for you. That's free. You're going to get jobs if you do that enough, right? If you're boosting your Google business profile, if you're like Michael did a audit review where he was saying, hey, you got to actually treat your Google business profile like a social media and post weekly. That's going to get views because Google's going to say, hey, they're engaging, move them up. Like that is going to get eyeballs. And how much does that cost them? Zero. So even if they make one client and just one client off that, that's a positive ROI. You can't do that with paid ads. You can't even do that with the paid organic features where you're paying to promote your organic presence. So essentially, I'm going to wrap that up really quickly and then pivot over to the fun part. Essentially, what you do is you start organic, paid. As you move up, you're still including the features behind it, right? It's like, you know how like package 2 also includes package 1. Package 3 also includes everything before it. So you're still including those features and you're moving up. Price points, if you're just starting out, I cover more in the training. So if you're not just starting out and you don't like the prices, watch the training. Don't shoot me. But if you're just starting out, 97 to 297 for your lowest tier. That's the organic. Then for your paid organic, you're into the 397 to maybe 5 or 697 for paid organic and organic. And then when you're doing all three, you're in the 797 to 1197 range. You're essentially you're essentially a growth consulting at that point. You're growth coaching at that point because you're also helping them with the offer. If the offer sucks, is the campaign going to do well? No. And we talk about this in the step 1 training, right? Some offers sell themselves. Example, crack. There's no marketing team for crack. There's no marketing team for sex. There's no marketing team for alcohol. Yes, these companies have their own marketing team, but if they stopped running ads today, I promise you every single one of those would still do phenomenally well. There's crack, again, crack has no marketing team ever. Let's not, there's no Bud Light of crack, right? There's no Michelin Ultra of heroin, right? They're always going to have demand, right? So if your offer is good, your marketing and your sales don't have to be that great. The better they are, even better, right? But they don't have to be great. Let's look at a PG version, neurosurgery. If your doctor tells you you need a brain surgery, you're not going to be like, but his commercial was bad. Have you seen a doctor's commercial? They're never good. They look like they're filmed on a microwave. Like the quality is terrible. Optometrists, go look at their commercials. They're goofy. They're terrible. It's just about getting eyeballs on it, right? So if the offer is strong, the marketing and sales don't have to work hard. So my favorite thing to do, right? Because we said we do the traffic and we do the offer. My favorite thing to do is to come in and say, hey, let's look at the offer, because if the offer is terrible, we've got to find a different angle. Now, I'll say this and then we'll move on. Finding an angle doesn't mean changing the offer, right? I'm doing marketing. The angle I take is the top of funnel content. That's it. Once we go into the actual process, I don't care who tells you otherwise, paid ads are paid ads. There's different ways to do it, but paid ads are paid ads. You're either getting clients organically, inbound, outbound, or paid traffic, inbound, outbound. Those are the only two ways to get traffic. So anybody telling you otherwise, what are they doing? It's a marketing angle, and it's done very well because there's a lot of saturation. So the offer is great, but because there's competition, they have to adjust the marketing angle. So that's where I like to come in. And if I'm changing an offer, I'm not telling them, hey, go back to school. I'm telling them, hey, let's change the angle, maybe the pricing structure, maybe contract versus no contract. And we're looking at it from that component. And then from there, what do you do? Now that you've mastered all skills, you go backwards and you say, cool, now I have 3 services. The full done for you package, minimum price on that is going to be $9.97. Full done for you package. It's essentially the paid organic and organic, right? But now that's all you do. You don't work with anybody below that because it's not worth your time. And in the training, it covers when to scale up and how to scale up and what do you do with your old customers. It covers all of that. Then you offer the done with you. What do you do with the done with you? This is the client I have on Sunday I'm actually meeting with. He says, hey, I have a marketing guy already, but he's in school learning this. Would you like work with him? Yeah, I'm going to tell him exactly what to do. He's going to get full access to my process, but he's going to do it. I'm going to walk him through it. Why is that enticing for me? It's going to be about half my done for you package price, but how much work do you think I'm going to spend consulting this team?
Not much.
Maybe 2 hours a week. I'm going to give him homework. I'm going to give him access to the guide. I'm going to meet in with him 1 to 2 times a week and be like, hey, do this, change that. And I'm going to pull between $250 and $500 an hour for it. Right? Yeah. That's the done with you. And then what's the bottom tier? Done for you. What is it done for you? Or excuse me, the done with, do it yourself, the DIY. What does the DIY package look like when you're offering comprehensive services? This, SASO University, right? I hop on 1 call a week. I'm in the community engaging with all of you, DMs, group, right? But you get to learn at your own pace. And is anybody breaking the bank to be a part of this? If you are, tell me, I will refund you the $25. I'll refund you the $0 sign up with the affiliate. Like no one is breaking the bank by being here. It's a DIY, right? So that's essentially what you do. So you build up to learn everything and then you work backward. You essentially say, I'm going to do it all for you. As I do it, I build my own blueprint. Then I add the done with you package. Now I'm sharing my blueprint. I'm doing my whiteboarding, like we talked about in the beginning, right? I'm whiteboarding with them. Hey, what makes sense? What doesn't make sense? I know more than you know. So you're helping me though, right? You're not putting them down by saying, I know more than you. You're saying, hey, I'm communicating at this level. Your knowledge is here. Help me bridge the gap so I can help you and other people. And once I bridge the gap, I can automate all of my lessons through high levels membership. And so now I have an automated funnel for my DIY. And I don't do this with you guys at all because I want to keep all of this in the DIY. But let's say you build a community and you have the DIY as your tripwire, right? We spoke about this on the funnel progression, right? Your DIY community becomes the tripwire. So what does that mean? You can bring people in for $97 to $297 a month to learn at their own pace. And the entire time that you're also providing them with immense value, what else are you doing? Now you're also saying, hey, I can help you if you want one-on-one training. And I've had some people who ask me in this group, do you do one-on-one training? I tell them I do, but I would rather you learn from this process because it's just going to be much more beneficial. But look, we add the community, right? This is the face for a funnel. We're adding the community over here in the top right. Community. The community becomes a tripwire, so they pay. So think about this. Your leads now pay to become your leads. You don't pay for leads. Your leads pay you to be a lead because they want to get in your community, right? And if you think that's not possible, you guys are here, right? You guys are here. If I wanted to, like I said, I will never do it. But if I really wanted to, I could say, hey, and a lot of people do this. Hey, I can coach you one-on-one. Hey, I can give you through this. I mean, how many of you are a part of Facebook communities where that's all they do? It's just self-promotion after self-promotion after self-promotion. Yeah. I'm not doing that. But if you're going to do this, what you could do essentially is you can say, hey, I have a community. In the community, it's the tripwire. You pay to be part of it, SASO University. But on the back end is the VSL upsell. So now that we're going through this, go back and watch the step 2 training, the funnel progression evolution, right? And you'd be like, oh, it's all coming together. I think I saw some hands, and then I want to move on to the outbound.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question? Just about fulfillment. How much of the fulfillment are you personally doing, like, especially when it comes to like paid ads, Facebook ads, etc.? Do you have you outsourcing it? You've got full-time staff. How are you doing that?
So on my tax records, I'm the only person that works for my company. Everything
Okay.
else is contracted out, which I cover in the training.
Okay.
There are some times where my contractors have messed up, but because I've done it before with my first, and it covers in the training again, I'm going to keep saying that. But essentially, because I did it myself for my first roughly 10 to 15 clients, I now know, hey, if I have to step in, I can, and my time's freed up, right? I don't have all these menial tasks and I have to go, oh, I have to put all this on someone else and go, no, my time is literally free. And you'll see this as you become a business owner, as you become a business owner over a bigger business, you'll see that all you're doing is putting out fires. You can't put out the fire if you haven't been in the trenches and put out the fire before. If you haven't worked with marketing, if you haven't worked with accounting, if you haven't worked with HR, right? You can't put out that fire unless you've worked with them, right? That's one of the things I keep talking about Mateo and HVAC. It's one of my favorite things about working with him is that he can speak to them the language because he's been in the field. He's done the installs. He's had the pull the pipe apart and the water goes all over him. And he's like, oh, well, don't do it that way again. He's come home probably smelling like somebody else's, bathroom water. And he's like, okay, today sucked. He can relate to them on that level. So when he builds up the business, he can also do the exact same thing. And he can say, I've been there. I know how to fix it. So for me, I do all the front facing content. Obviously, nobody can wear my face. Something I cover in the video. Nobody can wear my face. And I do the sales, the closing. What I do is I increase my pricing so that way I can actually molt some of my past customers. I can get rid of them or they can upgrade with me. But I do the closing myself because I want to make sure it's a good fit. I want to see like right now, you talking to me right now, right? You know whether or not you think I'm a terrible person that you'd never work with, or if I'm intriguing enough to get on the next call with me or intriguing enough to do business with, right? So when I get on the call, they get a feel for me, I get a feel for them. The last thing I want to do is work with somebody who doesn't want to work with me. And the second to last thing I don't want to do is work with somebody I can't stand.
Yeah.
And I actually talk about that in the training. I call it my smile fee, where I charge a smile fee. See you, John. Have a good night. I call it a smile fee where if I have to work with a client I really dislike, I'll charge a fee to show up with a smile. So if my prices, by the way, they're $12.98, $34.98, and $69.98 a month. If I'm working with somebody at a $69.98 and I just cannot stand them, my second least favorite option, essentially I'll charge a smile fee and my price magically jumps $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. Because if they say yes, cool, I'll show up with a smile. But if they say no, I didn't really want to work with them to begin with. Yeah, Grant.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get down because my journey through doing freelance marketing and then high level has been I kind of just a lot of my clients like don't even use the software that much, if that makes sense. They use the inbox, when they get it when someone starts going in the texts and not going through the funnel. But other than that, and a calendar for a one person. But so essentially how you do it is for your first two pillars, you have it to where they have the software stack and then they have training on how to use it and then how to use the actual product itself. And then on guidance, in marketing. And then on the second plan, you kind of have more your faces presented. You kind of guide them personally. And then you also have your package, obviously, where everything's fulfilled for them, hands down. So,
Got you. So the marketing ascension model where we talk about organic, paid organic, and paid, that is a strictly done for you model. I don't let them touch anything I don't want them to touch. If someone comes to me and says, hey, I just want the software, or if it's a friend of mine who's like, hey, I just want the software, then they'll get all the features for 97. I'm not going to limit myself in terms of features when I work with them. So even my low tier organic clients, I'm not going to limit the features I'm going to use them or use for them. What I will do is sometimes I will limit their access. And I'll give you an example. I had a client, this was a done for you client, paid me $7,300. I would build out the website. I would come in the next day and they had like changed the font size to like 2. I don't, have you seen size 2 font? It's like the smallest font. You cannot read it. I'm like, what did you do? And then one day he came in, he moved the images and he changed the image quality. And I love playing with like opacity, where you put like a nice color layer over an image. So it gives it like an orange hue, where I love playing with those, especially on blue collar. It's just so clean to me. Came in and completely changed all the color. I'm like, so I just took his access away from the website. I went in settings and I said, you can't touch the website anymore. Click. And he was like, "Oh, I was having fun with that." I'm like, "Yeah, but check it out. If this takes me longer than it's already taken me, you're gonna get a bill for my daily rate. My daily rate is 8 hours a day at 500 an hour. So if that's what you want to do, keep playing with it." Guess what? He didn't touch it again. But I went in his settings and I took his settings away. Now that doesn't mean that he doesn't get to use a website. It just means I don't want him touching the website. So we do the done for you because that's going to give the competitive advantage. It's also going to let you learn as you go and as you scale, right? Now, that's the marketing essential model. That's the first phase. Once you get to the comprehensive marketing approach, where you're doing the DIY and then you're downgrading to the done with you, that's that done with you. That's the first time you let them fully have control and you're just meeting with them and helping them. And what I like about the done with you is that's where you can have your resources. That's where you have Extendly, and Extendly has a massive database of resources that they can use. They have massive backend support. Zoom one-on-ones, it's phenomenal. That's when you watch training, that's one of my favorite ways to start automating, right? You can start automating that at $299 and then you can upgrade to $599. And I have the link in the description of that training when you start watching it. So the done with you. So if you remember, we go paid, organic, organic, paid, organic, paid. Then we pivot and we go full done for you, done with you. That's where you're saying, hey, you now have access to everything. You do it. And what happens? Either A, they learn and they're super grateful and you work with them for a little bit of time. Then when they no longer need your services because you've coached them, guess what? They're still using your high level. So they're still either A, paying you monthly to check in with them, or you can downgrade them and say, hey, cool, you don't need me anymore. Now you're just paying the annual or the monthly fee. And that could be $297, $397, whatever.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of had the idea that you were doing it as like those were like your 3 tiers, like and they can choose from, but you kind of start with everything, you fulfill everything, and then as you guide them, you let them have more and more control over the platform, in a sense.
Correct. Well, it's not that they get more control, right? Remember, I'm starting them off in the low tier, I'm moving up, and then I'm doing more for them. They're just paying me that if they're doing the paid plan, right?
Yeah. So
first
like
one,
just and then on top of it, as they know more, they're able to do it more on their own.
they usually won't.
Okay.
Yes, they can. The answer is yes, they can. Will they? No. And I'll give you an example. Michael is helping somebody get Google verified. Michael's been doing all the research on it. Michael, is it a hard process?
I didn't look into it yet, to be honest.
Oh no, it's not hard at all. You basically just submit like your business docs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really not hard at all. But will they do it? No. And let me ask you this. If they could have done it, and somebody will tell you this, well, I could do that. Cool. Why haven't you? How much money do you think you lost had you done everything you could do 5 months ago when you should have done it? Right? So I want to pivot into the outbound scaling because that's a really big thing. So very quickly with the outbound scaling. Step 3, remember, step 3, we're creating content first. Then we're doing our outbound outreach. In the order of process, it's content before outreach. In your daily schedule, create your content, then do your outreach. Why? This is why social media is beautiful. When I reach out, when Michael reaches out, when Kyle reaches out, and they have content on their page, and then people go, oh, wow, I checked out some of your content. This is kind of good. And then people message me and they go, oh, they saw my content. I didn't think my content was that good. And they converted. It doesn't have to be good. All it is showing you know what you're talking about. So we create the content and then we do the outreach. And again, that's step 3. I don't want to cover that too much. We do the ultimate downsell. So let's say you reach out, they shoot you down, tell them, hey, ultimate downsell, remember step 1 training. If you follow me, I'll make content for you. Like, give me a problem, give me a pain point. I'll make content for you. And I think I hit some of you with this. Hey, what's something you're struggling with? I'll go make content on my page right now just for you. So what happens? You go to the page, you watch the content I made just for you. You follow the page, you start seeing my stories where I'm retargeting, you start seeing my client testimonials where I'm saying, oh, we're killing it. My students are killing it. That's my favorite thing ever. When someone messages me, they're like, bro, I have someone on the line. I'm like, yes, that's the best because it means my stuff is working. So that's what we do with the step 3, right? Now let's move on to the social media outreach. So let's talk about groups. I want to go local groups, niche groups, pages, profiles, accounts. Local groups. What you do is you're going to hop on Facebook, and we did this last time. So if you want to watch the call, I posted that on on my Facebook page, the call from last time. So I'm not going to do it again. But the local groups, you go to the search bar. I'm near Miami. So let's say I type in Miami recommendations, Miami restaurants, Miami industry, and you're going to search around a little bit and you're going to find groups. You're going to find groups with high engagement. It will literally tell you how many members. It'll tell you how many posts a day. Look for the high numbers. You hop in the group and what happens? Susan, Sharon, Billy, Davis, it doesn't matter. These people comment or they make a post and they go, hey, I had this literally happened with my in-laws, somebody they know. They're like, hey, my HVAC is down. I have no cold air. We're at the nipple of Florida. We could not be more at the nipple of Florida. Okay. It's hot as balls. How badly do you think they wanted an HVAC person? How badly do you think people were hopping on those groups being like, I will come. Like, where are you? Like, and they're like, send me your address. They're like aggressively hunting them. Right. What does that tell you? Number one, we know for a fact that businesses will get on Facebook before Google business. So we know they're on Facebook. Why are they on Facebook? Because hunting clients, especially as for the men, hunting is very appealing. It's very appealing because I'm going after, I want to get them. I want to make them give me money. No, we make the content. We make a nice, warm, nurturing place. Come on in, message me. Then we reach out. When you message, and I bet everybody did this. When you first messaged me or when I first messaged you, or when you first saw me engaging the group, what's the first thing you probably did? You probably clicked on my profile and you're like, hey, who the heck is this guy? Why is he providing value? Is he full of crap? Does he know his stuff? I want to dig. I want to stalk him a little bit before I reach out to him. That's how most people do it, right? Any of you have girlfriends or wives, I guarantee you they probably see a picture of you from 5 years ago where they see a feminine hand on your shoulder. I bet you they could find out that woman's uh, address, blood type, social security number. Like they will find out. Right?
They will stalk that girl.
They will. Yeah, they'll tell you, and they'll like my wife all the time is like, oh, you remember this one girl I told you about 3 years ago? Oh yeah, she got married. I'm like, who? And how do you even like? That's what social media is. That's what people do, right? So what happens? These people go on these pages. These men hunt for leads. You then see that they are on social media. What does that tell you? Anybody know? What does that tell you?
They're in front of their phones. They're using it.
So they're using their phone, but what does it? It also tells you that they understand that they need to be online to find clients.
Yeah.
And like, I'm probably saying this, you're probably thinking this is the stupidest crap ever. This is so simple. Yes, it is. It really is. That's why most of you have been missing it because you're thinking there's some high up level. No, it's that simple. They're on Facebook. They see client posts. They're grabbing that client. Is that a good method for beginners? Yes. So that tells you that they're a beginner. It tells you, especially if you're starting out and we go organic, paid, right? The marketing ascension model, right? That tells me, bingo, that is a perfect person to start with because they understand that they can make money online. They just don't know how to do it right. And so what do? You go on their page and you're going to comment on it. Now, this is the local group. So pay attention. On the page, you're going to go to their page that they commented from. You're going to follow the page. You're going to like the page. You're going to comment or engage. Somehow you're going to engage with their last 2 or 3 posts. Why? We're warming up Facebook to say, hey, when I message this person, put me in their inbox because most likely I'm reaching out because I like what they're doing and I want to connect. If you just go in dry, Facebook's going to be like spam, message request. We want to get in the inbox. So you have to warm up the account and you're basically telling Facebook, hey, look, I'm legit. I'm trying to interact with them, right? You're not just going in dry. Go look at your spam in your Facebook. You're going to have a bunch of VAs in your spam because why? They didn't engage with any of your crap. They just messaged you. I can do this. I can do that. It doesn't close. It doesn't convert. So what do? You engage with the page. You message them. What do you message them? You're going to message them. I have a post. I'll reshare the post in the group, but essentially you're going to date the client. What do I mean by date the client? when you go on a date, and this may be eye opening for a few of you, don't talk about yourself. Don't, do not. It should always, and again, I'm married to a woman, so I'm taking that point of view. Um, I don't care what your sexuality is. So again, nobody call Ellen DeGeneres or Oprah or put me on Twitter. But my point is, when I'm talking to my wife, guess what I did? For 5 hours when we first met, I asked all about her. And I kept her talking and talking and talking and talking. And it was all about her. Right. And then she realized at some point, oh, I've been talking. Like, we've been sitting here for a long time. Tell me about you. And that's where I'm like, no. Right. Flip that. Hey, tell me about your business. Tell me, how long have you been doing this? Tell me, where are you currently? Where do you want to be? What's holding you back? What keeps you up at night? What's the success look like? What's it feel like when you get a success? Right. And then it pivots. Well, what do you do? Or pitch me. What do you like? Tell me about your services. And now it's game on. Another analogy I like to use is, don't send unsolicited nude pictures, right? Don't, if you're doing it and this is a wake up call, please don't. But it's very different when you send it unsolicited versus them saying, hey, send me something, right? That's completely different. Right. I'm trying to speak the language. It's a group of guys right now. So I'm trying to speak the language of guys. It's right. Don't come in here being like, oh, let's get right to it. No, right? You've got to court, you've got to date, you got to get engaged, you got to get married. Then you're in, you're locked in, right? So that's the same appeal you take with these clients. Now, how do you do that quickly? So that way we do two things. We don't A, appear as a client of theirs, and B, we don't come off way too strong. How do we do it? We engage with the content, we message them, and we basically say the same thing a few of you guys have been doing phenomenally with. You give them a compliment, but I want you to sound like a fellow business owner. Hey, I see you're getting a lot of clients. I see you're acquiring a lot. Use some business terminology. I see you're closing a lot of people in the Facebook groups. Great stuff. I do the same thing, right? So the compliment, but you're also not saying, hey, what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to say, hey, how much for lawn care? Oh, by the way, I don't need lawn care. I just wanted to get you to talk to me. That would piss me off. Like, you just wasted my time, right? So something nice. And then you're going to hit them with the exact thing that I put in the Facebook group. Again, this is just option one. You're going to put the exact thing that I put in the Facebook group, the outbound or outreach challenge that I posted, where essentially you're going to do whatever you can to send them a Loom video. Loom is free. It is free. You can use it for a certain amount of minutes. I have the paid one, but you can do it for free. And what you're going to do in the outbound challenge is you're going to do a full marketing review. What are you going to cover in the marketing review? And ideally keep these between 3 and 5 minutes long. What are you going to do in the Loom review? You're going to review everything we covered. Organic, paid. What are they doing well? Start off nice. Don't be mean. Then you go in. But when you go in, this is what I want you to do. I want you to act like they should have been doing this the whole time. Hey, you don't have any localized keywords. That's kind of hurting you. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. Hey, your GMB is definitely not fully optimized. Here's some good things, but you're missing out here. And you're just going in, but do it nicely. And you do it in a way where you're so monotone and you're so nonchalant that you come off as a professional, right? Because let me ask anybody in the group, whoever wants to answer, if what's the easiest way to lose weight? Go to the gym. All right. Notice how Grant wasn't like, oh, you got to go to the gym, you got to do the routine, you got to die. No, he's like, go to the gym, because it's so mundane. It's so low quality content. It's such common sense that he's just like, just go to the gym. You see how monotone he was when he said it? So I want you to do the exact same thing in your delivery. Don't be a salesman. Provide value. Do it monotone. I don't want you to be like bothered. Like, don't be like, oh, you didn't, like, don't Eeyore them. Okay. Don't depress them. But I want you to be almost bored. Almost like, yeah, like, okay, we're missing this, we're missing that. Oh, this is not bad. Okay. But this is definitely needs to be improved. At the end of the video, what do? You say, hey, send this over to your marketing team. Again, follow the exact outreach. I posted in the group, search the outreach challenge, search in the group. I don't want to go too much into that. I want to make sure the last couple of minutes are really good. Search in the group. But essentially, what do you do at the end? You're going to piss them off. You're going to say this, hey, send us your marketing team, because there's a lot of things that are good, but there's a lot of things they should have been doing from square one. What does that do? That tells them one of two things. Hey, send them to a marketing team. So it's basically saying like, you have a marketing team, right? And they're going to say what? No or yes. That's the two options, right? So if they don't have one, it's like, well, yeah, if you had one, you'd be making way more money. Number two, if they have a marketing team, you're essentially saying, hey, whoever you hired is terrible. Otherwise, like, I wouldn't have reached out to you. And if you find someone who's doing great, cool, move on. If they're above what you think you can handle, move on. But anyone who's under in a realm or in a range of what you can handle, and they have a marketing team. One of my leads, by the way, the guy I'm reaching out to tomorrow for a meeting, massive business. His website at the bottom, how do I know he's a marketing team? At the bottom, it says created by marketing team name. I click on the link. They offer all these services, and they're not doing a single one of them for his website. So in my opinion, that's not good. So what am I going to do in the call with him? I have notes right here. Ready? Hey, I noticed your website was designed by these people. Why not hire them? He's going to say one of two things: too expensive, or they're not good at what they do. And what does that tell me? Well, what is too expensive? This price range. And if it's north of what I want to do, perfect. If it's south of what I want to do, you might be better off going with somebody on Fiverr. You might be better off finding like a foreign contractor on Fiverr. Phenomenal website, super low ticket. That's what I would do. And they're going to say, no, I don't want to do that. But I know what he's going to tell me. He's going to tell me the price is going to be north of what I'm going to pitch him. So he's going to validate my pricing. I'm going to try to further validate it. And then I have my notes here. So I'm basically going to say, like, why not hire them? And he's going to tell me either they're not good, cool, I am, or they're too expensive. Great. I'm right under whatever he tells me. I'm going to be directly south of that. And then I'm going to validate my pricing. How do I validate my pricing? This is touching some of the closing stuff. Where are you? Where do you want to be? How much money? Let me pick somebody that's not Michael, because Michael, we just covered this. Let me just get a volunteer real quick. Doesn't matter who. Don't be shy.
I'll do it.
I'll take a
Okay.
second.
Okay. Let me go with Mo, because Mo hasn't had too much interaction. So let's say like Mo, just make up numbers. Okay. How much money are you currently making this month?
6,500.
Great. How much, let's say you and I work together 6 to 12 months from now, what would you consider a success in terms of revenue per month?
15 grand.
Perfect. So 6,500 to 15 grand, that's about 8,500 a month, right? So realistically, let's say 2,000 a month would make sense, because I'm going to be making you additional money, 6,500 extra a month, right? So about 2 grand would kind of make sense to fix the problem, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. My pricing is not 2 grand, by the way. I don't want to scare you. It's only $1,298. So I told him, hey, this makes sense, right? But I'm way down here. Okay. So I'm going to diminish my pricing. Here's the second thing I do. Ready? He said it's an $8,500 a month problem, right? So Mo, let me ask you this. Do you think a $300 tool would fix an $8,500 problem?
No, I'm not sure.
Probably not, right?
Right.
Yeah. So right there, what I'm doing is I'm not only validating that my price is lower than what it could be, but I'm also saying, hey, it can't be too low, because that's not going to fix the problem, right? A hammer can do what? It can nail a nail into wood, right? But a hammer alone cannot build a home, right? It takes several tools. It takes knowledge, right? That's a big problem, building a home. That's a huge task, right? So do you see how I pushed down? I said, hey, here's what it could be. Here's where I'm pricing it. And I also then pushed up. This low doesn't cost. And here's what I like to do with the pricing. I like to do the 10 and 5 rule. So essentially, what the problem is, I like to start at 10%. So 8,500, right? I'd say, cool. So $850, that's 10% of your problem. That would make sense to pay, right? Here's the good news. I only charge, and then insert 5%. I only charge, what is that? Like half of 850. I can't math right now.
425.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 425, right? I only charge 425. So I said, hey, this price makes sense, 10%, but I'm only going to charge you half of what I made sense. Additionally, have you ever seen a $30 tool fix it? Have you ever seen a $45 tool fix that big of a problem?
Good.
Solid.
So you see how I'm validating my price. And this is something for you guys. If you're like, well, am I charging enough, or am I charging too much? Ask yourself, have you ever seen this price point fix this tool, right? It doesn't make sense. So that's for the local groups. Now, what about the niche groups? In the niche groups, and for most of you who found me through high level groups, depending on which group it was, go look at how I'm engaging. People post a problem. I provide value, but here's what I do with the value. At the end, I'll basically just provide the value. They will say thank you 9 out of 10 times, or they'll ask a question. In my follow-up, that's where I say, here's the answer. If you need more help, DM me, or here's the answer. I have more stuff that answers this on my page, right? And then guess what content I make on my page? I see what problems people have, and I go make content on it. So that way I can then turn around and say, hey, I've seen 5 posts about this topic. I'm going to make content. So now when I engage in these posts and I know more posts will come of this nature, I can push them to my page and say, oh yeah, go watch the content on my page. Now, what type of content do I make? That's in the step 3 training, but all of my content ends with, hey, join SASO University. That's where I'm going to show you how to do this for free to my affiliates or a really low ticket price. So I'm not saying in the group, hey, come buy me. I'm saying, go look at the video. The video is saying, hey, come pay me. But what happens? I'm providing how many layers of value? The initial reply, the replies to the replies, call to action to DM me or watch the video, and then the video content is already there. So look at that. It's 4 layers of value before I'm even asking them. And I'm not even asking them. With how many of you did I say, hey, join? I just said, hey, if you want, you can join. This is the program, this is what we do. Or you can always learn and you can do what you've been doing and see if that changes things. Right? It's the same thing with your people. Hey, listen, it's $297 a month. Or you can keep doing what you've been doing and let me know if that changes anything. And you'll have some people, Michael, was it you who the guy, like, it was you or John or it was somebody, I think it was you, Michael, who the guy was like, you sent him all this value and he was like, nah, I'm good. I think he didn't have like a Google, was it you? Yeah. He's like, nah, I'm good. No Google business profile, nothing. If it were me, I would wait 6 months and I'd reach back out to the guy and I'd be like, hey, did anything change? Or are you still stuck? If it changed, cool, congratulations, super happy for you. Because I'd honestly want everybody to win, right?
Mhm.
If it didn't change, what happens? He starts thinking, oh, what if I had paid him 6 months ago? Where would my life be different today? Where would my business be different today? So it's a little cheeky, but it's a really fun way to kind of poke the bear in the follow-up, like 6 months later. You didn't land him as a client anyway, so what's the little poke gonna do? Maybe you land him, he just stays angry because these business owners don't like making money for whatever reason. So that's the niche. You're providing value. You can also do a value bomb. So how do you do the value bombs? Let me see if I can find one of my value bombs. Share that with you. I might go a little over today if that's fine, but I want to share one of the value bombs I had. And I want to show you how little of a call to action I have in there. And this post itself, I don't know if somebody's in here that maybe joined based off this post, but I want to show you, yep, here's the post. I want to show you the post that I made. Oh, actually, here's a reply I made. So let me show you a reply. And this is not to flex me. This is to show you that it works and to show you how little of a call to action there is. So Yusuf posts, what should I say? It's been 20 hours and he didn't reply. So he's trying to close him. He didn't reply. So what was the issue? The issue was he couldn't get him on the call, right?
Yeah.
So here's my reply. 3 things to avoid because this used to happen to me all the time. Right now I've connected with him. It used to happen to me. It doesn't happen anymore. Right? Subliminally, he's thinking, oh, it used to. Past tense no longer happens. Number 1, in the DMs, you have to create scarcity and urgency. Quote, I give an example, only running this promo for the next 4 clients because I'm increasing my prices due to demand. And if you watch the training I dropped, there is a time to increase your prices and you have to stick to it. You have to secure guns. Number 2, your offer may not be strong enough or address risk reversal well enough because usually if someone's not getting on a call with you, it's one of 2 reasons. It's not good enough or it's too risky. That's it. 9 out of 10 times. Number 3, you haven't established yourself as credible yet. Use Loom. What have you guys been doing? Michael has been killing it. John has been killing it with the Looms. Use inbound content. Use status delta content. And of course, ostracize current trends. Now, if you're in SASO University, you know what I just said, right? As you consume the trainings, you know what I just said. If you have never seen my content before, and I'm going to pick on Josh because Josh is just starting the training. Josh, do you know what status delta content is?
No idea.
Okay. And I'm not saying that, I'm saying that to pick on you because I know
No,
you cool, good spirits. and
So
you'll
if it-
learn it in the step 3 training. But what does that do? That creates interest, right? John, you're
Mm,
probably wondering, what the hell is that?
yeah,
I
for sure.
guarantee you, Yusuf is like, what is that? Right. So I'm saying, and that essentially that is status delta content. It's when you somewhat overcomplicate things to pique interest. So
Mhm.
now he's going to say, what is that? Right. And then where's the result? I'm doing this, increase my call attendance rate to 92%. It's actually closer to 94%, but I like to go a little bit lower, 92%, and a reschedule rate of between 6 and 7%, which means people who say like, hey, last second, I can't make it, and a no show of 1. Why is my reschedule rate so low? I just did this. I told you guys at the beginning of the call, I just did this with a moving client. Why? I told him, hey, you have till Monday. I didn't say it like this, but I said basically, hey, my prices jump Monday 30%. If you want to hop on a call before then, even if you want some time to think it over, I'll honor those prices. After Sunday or starting Monday, the prices go up just due to demand. Business is booming. It's going crazy good. Right. And that is honest to God the truth. But because I reminded him, hey, my prices are going up, guess what? We have a call booked Sunday. Right. So he rescheduled once. I hit him with that. There's no more reschedule. No show rate. I put 1%. My honest to God number, honest to God, is 0. I've never had anybody ghost me on a call. I put 1 just because 0 is not really believable.
Mhm.
That's honest to God the truth. My no show rate is 0. Yeah, this dude's a loser. People are still faking the scarcity thing. And it's not scarcity. Why is there no scarcity? Because I only work with 3 to 5 clients at a time. How do I justify that? Because I charge my clients $7,000 a month. How do I get to 7,000? I follow the client acquisition process. I use the marketing ascension model. Then I pivoted to the comprehend. All the things I'm teaching you, that's exactly how I got to charge 7,000 a month. All the case studies I have, that's how I can charge 7,000 a month, right? I can essentially point and say, I can make lightning strike here. And that's exactly what I'm showing you guys to do, right? So all I did was a reply here, and I'm sure I can come in here and find the actual post. I think it was in one of Dom's groups where I posted the, yeah, I mean, look at the engagement. The engagement's insane just based off of the value that I'm posting.
Yeah.
And look right here. He liked my comment. By the way, my page is, look at this. By the way, my page is, look right above my mouse. My page is at Alec J. Roy, and it's fully free if you want to keep learning, right? That's let's go look at this interaction. This is how I'm essentially, look right here. Oh, he's like, this is my comment. So I actually made a value bomb. So here's one of the first value bombs I did. I said, hey, steal my exact low ticket funnel. This has actually helped me land $69.98 clients, right? So I showed the funnel. And look, so the entire funnel can be built within Go High Level, no paid marketing. Of course, you can use it. Strictly short form and long form content. But do I say short form and long form? No, I put SF and LF. Why? Yeah, Muhammad. Yeah, this is supposed to got me. Why? Because if you're reading SF and LF, if you're reading CPL, CPM, and CAC, you may or may not know that terminology, but it's going to pique interest because you're like, I wonder what that is. Now you have to click on the image to find out what it is, right? Hope this helps. Shows I'm providing value. I have more free content on my page. So my call to action is check out more free stuff that's going to help you. And if you're still lost or need help, so I'm saying if, I'm not saying I'm attracting the lost. I'm saying if you're still lost, comment below. So I'm saying, hey, I'll engage in public, or you can DM me. So basically I'm saying, hey, whether you're a public or private person, whether you're skeptical or not, you can actually DM me. And then what happens? Which platform? Awesome. Question, right? Here comes the questions. And then here's the call to action. I have more explaining on my page. Great flow. Look at this full conversation, right? He was lost. I said, oh, DM me and I'll help you out. And I sent him a screenshot a little bit closer. He said, now watch this. Ready? Can you DM me? What do we say to that? The answer's already up there. What do we say to, can you DM me and why? Who knows?
Probably just no, just you can chat me if you want to. It takes the desperation off of you.
That's number 1. What's number 2? How much outreach can we do a day on social media? Do I want to waste my outbound DM for that day on this guy who already wants to talk to me? Right? Let's say I have 10 messages a day. I just blew one of my messages because this guy said, can you DM me? And I just said, hey, just saw it if you want. And I act like, there was this 5-day difference, which is longer than I usually go. But I basically am just like, oh, hey, just saw this. Like, if you still want to chat, reach out to me. You can do it with a 5-day difference, a 2-hour difference. It doesn't matter. But the idea is get them to message you so you can save, your outbound messages, like bullets in a revolver kind of thing. Don't waste it on that. Number one. Number two, it comes off way less desperate. Hey, reach out if you want. I'm not like, oh yeah, I need the lead. And that's like, I'm not, I'm not like a crazy person. And number three, if they message me, they're going to wait for a reply. If I message them, they may never reply. So that's kind of like the human behavior that I've seen. Do you have a video to explain? Yes, I have a video. So I posted a screenshot from a video. If you go to my page, I have a video explaining this. Now, is this the full video explaining the 4-step funnel evolution? No, but it's enough to show I know what I'm talking about and to provide actual value. So you see how the value posts work. Now, this is a niche specific group. You're not going to post a value bomb in a local group. Please don't do that. So you get to the DMs, you use the Loom method where you're basically saying, hey, can I send this over to you free of charge? I just love what you do. Anything I can do to help, right? You get them on, and then you go through the 10-step call flow, which I have coming out next week. But essentially it's the same 10 steps, Hey, here's how the call is going to go. On this call, I want to cover, I'm going to cover all the things we can do. I want to figure out more about your business to see if we're a good fit. If it's a good fit, let's just make a deal that by the end of the call, I'll let you know if I think we're a good fit, and you let me know if you think we're a good fit. Fair enough? And what you're saying is not like, I want to work with you. I'm going to see if you're a good fit. What you're saying is, hey, I want to make sure, number one, I'm cool working with you, but number two, you're cool working with me, right? That's why we do the front-facing content, because we want to make sure that the people who get on the call are already comfortable with how you speak. That way they're not hopping on a call and being like, whoa, this guy's a weirdo. He's way too much. He's, if I shaved my dog's butt and had to walk backwards, it'd be prettier than this guy, right? You want to basically get that out of the way before they hop on the call. So now they hop on the call and they're already used to me speaking to them the same way I'm speaking in this group interaction. So now on the call, what am I doing? Hey, I just want to make sure I'm a good fit for you. You're a good fit for me. That's the whole purpose of the call. Sound good? Fair enough. Does that work for you? Duh, right? And then what's the first question? Where are you? And it's all the questions about where are you? How much are you making them? Like, and this is how I always preface it. Ready? I always tell them this. You don't have to share anything you don't want to share. The more you share, the more accurate I can give you information. I can help you, but don't share anything you don't want to share. That being said, let's jump in. How much money are you making a month? What's your profitability? Do you have any employees? Do you have I've seen the website. Did you pay someone for that? Did you do it yourself? And that's why it's nice using Built With, because you can figure out, instead of me saying, hey, who built your website? I can be like, oh, cool. I saw this company built your website. I saw they did it on WordPress. Does that sound familiar? No? Okay, cool. This is what that is, right? So I'm coming in like, whoa, how does he know all my stuff? Because I'm good at what I do. Am I? Yes, but I also just use Built With, right? Like anybody could use that. So essentially I'm coming in, where are you? And it's all the questions about where you are. So if I'm talking to pressure washing lawn care, or let me say lawn care because lawn care is repetitive, right? What's your route density look like? Oh, snap. I just told him I'd speak lawn care, but I didn't say, oh, I know about lawn care. For example, route, no, I just implied it. Oh, what's your route density look like? What kind of equipment are you using? What are you using to haul? How many trucks do you have out, right? All verbiage and language that says I know what I'm talking about, right? And this is why I always tell Mateo, it's always great what he's doing, because he can speak the exact same language and he can ask questions that say, I speak HVAC. That's why it's so good to know your industry really well. That's why you have to research your industry and your avatar in depth before you talk, because now you can ask these questions that further establish you as an authority, right? One of my first clients was actually, it was a nonprofit organization. And I'm like, I made a mistake when I was like, oh, like, what's your profit margin? They're like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, oh yeah, well, that was a stupid question. Like, obviously they want to cover their expenses, but like the profit didn't matter. So like knowing my avatar would have made more sense. I probably wouldn't have looked as dumb, right? So know your avatar, know what questions to ask. And then where you're essentially asking every question to understand where they are, right? Every single question to figure out where they currently are in their standing. And then what's the next question? We know where you are. Where do you want to be? How much money do you want to make? How many clients do you want to have? You said your profitability is this. What do you want it to be? You said your route density is this. What do you want it to be? Right? And I like to start it like this. Let's say we work together in 6 to 12 months. Everything goes well. What would this look like? What would that look like? What would this look like? And I'm asking all the future possibilities based off of all of the current questions, right? So if I'm saying currently, what's your profitability? My next question on step 4 needs to be, where do you want your profitability to be? And you can do this one of two ways. You can either ask all of your current questions and then your future questions, or you can pivot. Where's this? Where do you want it to be? Where's this? Where do you want it to be? Where's this? Where do you want it to be? You can test and see what you prefer. It really doesn't matter. Then once you know where they are and where they want to be, what does anybody know what we do next? We essentially ask them, why aren't you there yet? We assign responsibility. Why, like, what's holding you back? What do we want them to know? We want them to know that if they keep going this way, they're going to keep getting what they got. They're going to stay on current and they're never going to hit future. They're going to stay on desert island. They're never going to hit dream island. Right. So basically what you're saying is, what's holding you back? Why haven't you achieved the results yet? And what's the answer going to be? The answer is, I don't have time. I don't know what I'm doing. I had a team that's really bad at what they do. I got burned, right? It's one of those things. But the end goal is, if you keep doing what you're doing, this is the core question that you're asking. If you keep doing what you're doing, do you think anything's going to change? But we don't phrase it like that. We phrase it like, what's holding you back? What's keeping you from achieving these on your own? It's always a resource thing. The question's always resource. It's knowledge and human resource, or in their own knowledge. It's time, it's money. It's one of those components, right? What's holding you back? And then, because you've also asked, what are you making? What do you want to make? That leads into your pricing. But we don't go to pricing yet. Next, we go to close the gap. How do we close the gap? You're here. You want to go there. Guess what? This is how we do it. And that's why the marketing Loom video, or the marketing audit via Loom, is so beautiful, because you're closing the gap. Hey, this is where you are. This is what I would do for you. So you're kind of doing the 10-step framework in a different order, but it still works because you're still hitting all your points. So and that's really nice, because if you're very new at what you're doing, you're essentially establishing credibility to entice them to get on the call, or to entice them to hear you out. That's why it's working so well for so many of you. So you go into, okay, here's where you want to be. Here's the exact game plan. And what's always the question after, here's what I would do to fix it? What's always the first question? Somebody throw it out there.
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. What's the first question they ask when you say, here's everything I would do in your business?
How much does it cost?
Bingo. And that's where you go. Number one, pricing determines on the scope of the budget, because my range is X to Y. That's my range. Don't worry. I know you heard the lowest option. You've also heard the highest option. That doesn't mean you're going to hit one of the extremes, but that's my range. So let me ask you a few questions. This is where you want to be. This is where you want to go. Right. And then from there, we do the price diminishing. You see what I'm saying? And so now you can a more advanced technique is manipulating the price, but essentially you're just going to justify your price. You're here. You want to go there. This amount would make sense. Don't worry. That's not my price, but I'm just saying this amount would make sense, right? Okay, cool. This is actually my price. It's a fourth of that. It's half that. It's 2/3 of that, right? It's 10% lower than that, right? At the same time, and before you even say that, you can say like, don't worry, this is my price, but $8,500 a month, $850 a month would make sense, right? Right. The answer, and don't worry, that's not my price, but $850 a month would make sense, right? Great. At the same time, have you ever seen a $30 or $100 or even $150 tool solve an $8,500 a month problem? No. So the cool thing is, my pricing is actually below what would make sense for me to charge, but it's above and in the range of quality that you would need to solve the problem. And then when you say your price, what do? The minute the price leaves your mouth, what do you do?
Shut the fuck
Be
up.
quiet.
Yes, you don't say a single word. Don't say a word. I will virtually reach to this computer and slap you. Don't say it. Whoever talks next loses. And I know that's like really caveman sales, but that's honest to God the truth. You say your price and you sit there. And if they go, you sit there. You like, ready? Yeah. So it's $297 a month. And you sit there and you just hang out. Don't be cocky. You just sit there and you wait. And then the objections are going to come, and then you handle the objections. Now, if you follow the question order in the right process, right? Where are you? Where do you want to be? Do you want to start this now or in 6 months? Why haven't you gotten there? Here's how we close the gap. What happens? What are the objections they can throw at you? I got to talk to the wife. Okay. Does the wife know the business is struggling? Does the wife know you want to make money? I mean, you can talk with her, but you're a businessman. I've seen from your profile, you're a family man. I have a feeling she probably already knows these pain points, right? I want to start in 6 months. You told me 45 minutes ago you want to start right now. So usually what happens, and I could be wrong, but usually what happens is people say they want to start later because there's actually another objection that they're actually repressing. Is that the case here? Right? It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But I have insert risk. I have risk assessment, risk reversal. I have insert bonuses. I'm going to waive the setup fee. I'm going to, like, we have case studies proving this. Like, do you think I would charge this if I couldn't make you much, much more? Because think about it. If I don't make you more, what's going to happen? You're going to fire me after 1 month because you won't be able to afford me, right? Good news. I'm not even going to charge you for the first month. I'm actually going to make you money before you pay me a penny. And you can even fire me on the last day, on day 29, day 30. Here's the catch though. When you see what I do for your business, you're not even going to think twice about firing me. How do I know this? Because no one has yet. And you're just going to go into objection handling. And I have a whole document coming out that's going to address all of this that you can read verbatim, but that's essentially what it is. Some of these people do need to be pushed to make a decision, and it's the best thing they'll ever do in their life. And let's say you push them and it's a mistake. Guess what? They're going to fire you within 30 days and you didn't charge them a penny. So you can sleep well at night. You can learn from your lessons and they walk away scotch free. Where's the risk? Like, let me ask you, I'm going to pick on, like, I don't know if Kevin, do you have your mic? I don't know if you have your mic. No, you're good. Muhammad, let me pick on you again. Hey, Muhammad, if you want to join, it's absolutely free. After that, it's $297 a month. You've told me that you make 150 clients. So let's say I make you 2 clients minimum. I'm going to make you way more, but minimum. That would cover my fee, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. And if the first 30 days are free and you can fire me on day 29, I want to ask you a question. Where is the risk for you?
Yeah, there's not much. Maybe the time commitment that I would need to put into this.
Yep. And I'm gonna send you an onboarding form. That's the only thing I'm gonna ask of you. I'm gonna handle the rest from there. And in reality, I'm gonna take all the risk, right? Because I'm gonna do all this work. And even if I make you a bunch of money, you could fire me and walk away scot free, right?
Right.
Right. So let me ask you, the risk that's involved in this, is it really that much risk for you?
No. I'd rather do it now than 6 months.
Yeah.
Or have to do it anyways.
And the second question that I'd like to say is, like, is there any risk for you? The second question I like to say is, essentially, I'm going to, like, let's say you have no money. I'm going to make you the money that you can turn around and then pay me to then make you more money. So there's zero risk, right? I'm taking all the risk. So you see how I'm like, seriously, where's the risk? That's a lot of money. I'm going to make you the money before you pay me. And if you're wondering, can I make them the money? Yes, you go through the marketing assumption model and then you pivot. And when do you pivot? Watch the trade. You only pivot when you have enough case studies. And what do the case studies tell you? The case studies tell you that whether you believe in yourself or not, you're making a difference in these businesses. And if you've done it once, you can probably do it twice. If you've done it 3 times, you can probably do it 4 times. If you've done it 50 times, I guarantee you can do it 51 times. You see how it works? And so as you gain that confidence, that's when you can then charge more. And you can do it without thinking twice about it. Because you can be like, I did make him a ton of money. Like, I should make at least 5% of what I'm making him, right? That makes sense.
Bro, this content is absolute fire, hey?
I appreciate it, man.
Like, seriously, bro, what the fuck?
I appreciate it, dude.
Like,
Like,
I think it's being genuine, man. Like, this is like, whoa.
Oh, someone joined late. But no, I really appreciate it. Like, that means the world to me. And like, this is what I wanted to build when I made this, is I wanted to make this all about you guys. I want to make sure you guys get as much value as possible. Because here's the thing, right? This is the same thing I tell my clients. This is the same thing I'm going to tell you right now. If I want to be selfish and make a lot of money and not work at all, I have to be really selfless and make sure I build something that can do that for you. Because if I fully automate and build this whole thing and I hop on a 90-minute call with you once a week, right? Think about this. And everybody pays me for the access to it. And the content you're paying for makes you a ton of money, gets you a lot of customers. Are you ever going to leave high level? No, you have clients you got to take care of now, right? That's number 1. Number 2, would you leave my community? No, because what's going to happen? Trends are going to evolve, and I'm over here keeping everybody at the threshold of those trends.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you this now. It's going to come off really selfish, but you'll get it. If I make you happy and I make you money, you'll never leave, and then I will make money and I will be happy because you're never going to leave, right? Same exact thing with my clients, except for I mold them. because it takes, like you were asking in the beginning, how much time does it take? It does take time out of my day because I still have to coordinate with my team. I still have to do quality assurance. The face-to-face never changes with the done for you part, the done with you part. I still have to be in those meetings. I don't have account managers doing it because I like handling it. So how do I maintain the scope of control? Which, if you don't know, the scope of control is 3 to 5. Essentially, the military did a bunch of tests that determined how many people can one person manage. That answer is 3 to 5. So I don't go above 5 clients. But what's 5 times 7,000 a month, right? And that's my done for you. That's not my done with you. That's not my do it yourself, right? What's 5 times 3,500 if that were my price? What's 5 times 1,300, right? What's 5 times 1,000? There's 5 days in a week. I can work with a different client every day of the week if I were doing it by myself. You see what I'm saying? I like to run 4 clients. Why? Because I treat SASO University as my 5th client. And that's why all of our calls are either on Thursday or Friday. And so by providing value to you guys, you stay, which make me more money. And then how do I keep you happy? I have to ask you, what are you struggling with? And again, I keep picking on Mateo. He's probably tired of me saying his name. Why is Mateo so good at what he does with this aspect? Because he speaks the language, because he does the work. So even if I'm losing money on my 4 clients, and I could scale SASO way bigger, right? What do those 4 clients do? They keep me grounded in doing the work. And if I'm achieving results with them, I can turn around and say, hey guys, here's how I'm getting results for them. So now you can go replicate it. Ergo, you stay longer. Ergo, you make me more money. Ergo, my life stays easy. Even if I'm losing, even if I have 4 clients who I do all this for free, and this program, let's say this community fronted my costs, that keeps me at the forefront of knowledge because I'm in the trenches. You see what I'm saying? So that's, again, super appreciative of the kind words. And I know that maybe kind of sounded selfish at the end, but I want you guys to do the same thing. If you keep your clients super happy, they'll never, ever leave. Yes. Are you referring to Neil Patel? I don't think, like, nobody references this guy. Yeah, the SEO king. I love this guy. He's actually where I came up with my hybrid profile idea, because he did the split test where he tested more testimonials versus an about me, and the about me crushed it. I think it was like 60 something to 30. So I know we went a little over. I want to go ahead and wrap up. Definitely super appreciative for everybody who jumped on the call. The training, go watch the vertical SWAS offer training. The next training that's going to come out next Tuesday is going to be the outbound scaling method. So everything we talked about, very in depth. I want you to spam your questions in the group. Spam your questions in the group, because I'm going to take those questions and I'm going to put them in the training just for you guys. Okay. Spam your questions, reach out, melt my phone. If you're stuck because the training's not out yet, if you're stuck on how to close the conversation in the DMs, Michael, how many times do you send me screenshots of conversations a day?
A lot.
Great. I think Grant also sent me, he didn't send me a screenshot, but he sent me, hey, this is what she said. What do I say? John sends me screenshots all the time. Imran, screenshots all the time. Melt my phone. I'm here for you guys. Jamie, they're not going to be the same every week. Usually it's going to be Thursday or Friday at 7. And then I'm going to test one of the next calls. I'm going to test a Saturday earlier in the morning for our people who can't meet at these times because of other responsibilities, time zone differences. So I'm going to try a Saturday morning. I'm Eastern. I'm in Florida. I'm going to try a Saturday morning one of these days. So super appreciative of you guys showing up. Blow my phone up with the questions, with the screenshots. Go in the group. Let me know all the questions you have. Let me know every topic you want. I'm going to do my best to put out 2 to 3 videos a week in the training material just for you guys. And the prices, by the way, they're all jumping in the next 3 weeks to 50. So you guys are all, if you're paying Stripe, some of you are affiliates, but if you're paying on Stripe, you're locked in at 25. Your price will never go up, even when this gets to eventually 98 by the end of the year. Your pricing will never go up. So if you know someone who wants to jump in now, if they're on the fence, tell them, hey, jump in now, because next month it is going to jump to 50. PAC is problem agitating content. And that's in the step 3 training, Jamie. If you watch the step 3 training, it covers problem agitating content and how to structure it. Yep. Well, you guys have a great night. Again, thank you for coming out. Any questions?
Awesome.
Do not hesitate.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Night, y'all.
Great stuff, guys. See you.
Very
I was. Hope it worked.